Alright, so let's talk about chapter 22. And this is probably going to be the most important chapter for you guys as you are working on your advertising campaigns coming up next week. Again, you guys should have access to my slides. They're all on Canvas. The ad campaign is the plan for delivering advertising through persuasive messaging to the audience. Your situation analysis, which is something you guys have to do, and we've talked a little bit about this. This basically is a brief summary of the product, the prospect, and the current state of the market and competition. So for you guys are creating brand new products that are not out there currently. So what I would expect in your all's advertising campaigns for your situation analysis, something about this product's not currently out there, why we need this product, and remember chapters 16 through 20 when we talked about the need, and if there's any competition, if there's anything that's similar out there, and then basically a general, very brief summary of what your product is. The situation analysis explains what is happening right now. What is the current situation? You are analyzing the current situation as it relates to this product in your company. So what's a campaign strategy? Well, a campaign strategy is going to define your goals and outlines the way to reach those goals. So what is a goal? Something you want to accomplish by a specific deadline. Now, that is very important, that deadline piece. We can all have goals of things that we want to do in life, a bucket list, things like that. But when it comes to advertising, that goal is important because your entire campaign is going to be on deadline. And even with this class, you guys are on a deadline because you have to present on March 4th, the last day of class. So you want to make sure that, one, your goal is obtainable, and two, that it's obtainable by that deadline that is set. A goal is something that you want to accomplish by a certain deadline is a broad term. You want to make your goal something that is not too specific. It is going to be something that is general in nature. Underneath that goal, you're going to have one or more objectives. That objective is going to be kind of a subheading, if you will, of your goal. An objective is a specific goal that you wish to achieve by a certain deadline. Objectives must do or must be the following: specific, realistic, deadline-driven, agreed upon, written, and something that you can evaluate. That's where I see students have the hardest time with the objectives, is coming up with one that can be evaluated. You need to ensure that at the end of your campaign that you can evaluate the effectiveness of your campaign. And in order to do that, your objective must be something that is something that could be evaluated. Now, underneath that, you've got your strategy, which is a broad, general plan to reach your goal. Your tactic is certain actions that you will take to implement that strategy. Your media strategy, the plan to put the message before the audience via the mass media. This will include which media you want to use, which outlets. For instance, you want to do television, magazine, and print. How often they will be used. So, are you going to do just one commercial? Are you going to make it run over a certain period of time? How many times do you want it to run? And then obviously the timing of the ad placements when you want all of that to run. The message strategy is the persuasive message that will get the audience to do what you want them to do. Advertising is persuasive in nature. We, as advertising professionals, want to persuade someone to do something. With your ad campaigns, you want to persuade me to buy your product. The ads must work together to sell the product. If you are using print, radio, and television, you need to make sure, while they're going to be different because you have different mediums, there needs to be a consistent message throughout all of the mediums that you're choosing to use. They should have a unified look and sound, and that is not just in the actual scripts that you use, but if you're going to use certain talent, actor, actress, sports figure, a certain announcer, make sure that you use that throughout. If you're going to use a jingle, make sure it's in every single one. All ads in a campaign should look the same, have the same logo, the same slogan, the same layout. Again, it's all about being consistent. If you're all over the place with it, then you're not benefiting the customer, which is essentially what you want to do so that they will buy your product. The persuasive message that will get the audience to do what you want them to do is essentially your message strategy. The sales promotion. We talked last week about sales promotions. These, I think you have to include at least 2 of them, if I recall correctly, in your ad campaign. You could do anything from events, contests, sweepstakes, coupon samples, trade shows, dealer services, whatever it is that you want. Now, public relations. Remember at the beginning of the semester, I told you guys there's a difference between marketing, public relations, and advertising. And hopefully you guys by now are starting to understand the difference between the 3. But public relations is a part of your advertising campaign. So we need to look at what public relations is and how to define that so that you know how to add that to your campaign. Public relations is establishing and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships. Remember, the key there is mutually beneficial relationships. That's what makes it PR between the company and its audiences. So you are wanting to, it could be establish or maintain depending upon, what kind of product. Coca-Cola, they want to maintain that relationship that is mutually beneficial. So what does that mean? Mutually beneficial. That means it's good for me as the advertiser, and it's good for the consumers that buy it. For me, it's good that they go out and buy Coca-Cola because that means I'm making money. I'm making profits. It's good for them because it's satisfying a need. And for me personally, we all know that Coca-Cola is a need. Public relations includes customer service. It may include community relations. It may include publicity of your event. It really can encompass a wide variety of tactics. Evaluation. You've got to ensure that there's a way to measure whether or not your campaign was successful. The evaluation is based on the goals that you established before the campaign began. Evaluation doesn't necessarily need to be something that's done just at the end of the campaign. If you put together a year-long campaign for a client, and 3 months into it, they're seeing their numbers go down, then you're going to have to be able to go back and adjust that campaign, adjust that message, adjust the tactics that you chose to use to get that message out. Maybe you're not reaching the target audience like you had intended. So having different stages where you can evaluate throughout your campaign is very beneficial. The different evaluation stages, you can do it prior to the campaign's launch, which really would be a situation analysis. What is the current situation? What is the current market with this product or company? At various points throughout the campaign, like I just talked about, and then obviously at the end of your campaign, you want to see if you're successful. So the budget. We talked about budgets a couple weeks ago. We know it's the allocation of resources and commodities needed to make the campaign a success. Basically, resources translates to money, and commodities translates to stuff. So that is chapter 22. What I would like to do is to pull out the example that I gave you guys of the Ladybug advertising campaign, and maybe go through with you their actual campaign with their goals, objectives, strategies, because they start to kind of overlap each other in your mind when you're putting them together, and they really are separate. So I want to ensure that you guys understand how each of them work individually and how together that makes your advertising campaign. So this is chapter 22, and I will do a separate video to go over the sample advertising campaign.